Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. Do you even know it's Friday? Can you even tell it's Friday, or does every day seem like Sunday because we're all sitting at home, although some of us get to go to work? And it is April 19th, and it's snowing here in Northern Illinois on April 19th. And for you Papa Roach fans, I am getting ready to channel my inner Jacoby here. We're getting pretty close. So yesterday we started talking about the how. Up till now, it's been what do you want and why. And yesterday we started to branch into the how do you do these things. Okay, now that you know what you want and you've got this massive why, where does the how come from? Well, if you get a big enough why, the how finds itself. But there's a whole bunch of skills that you can learn that can really increase your likelihood of achieving those outcomes much quicker. And so the first thing that we talked about, and if there's anything that you learn, this is it. You're going to hear me say it again. You're going to hear me say a lot of the same things over and over in different ways. Repetition is the mother of skill. That's part of what we're going to do. So the ability to manage your state is the single most important thing in terms of achieving a happy life in not just my opinion, but in the opinion of almost all of these people. If you were really going to say, what are the two most significant rules for me to follow as I'm getting my goals, as I'm trying to figure out my life, as you know, these life technologies, destiny technologies, as some people call them, what are the two most significant rules that I have to follow right from the get-go? Number one is figure out how to manage your state. The ability to manage your state in tough times is the number one most important thing. With that, you've got everything. Without that, you've got nothing. And this is a great time to work on that because we're in a tough time and you got a lot of time. So you got a lot of time to start to manage this. The second most important thing, which I'll go ahead and tell you now on this great Friday, is whoever you surround yourself with is who you become. The 5 people that you spend the most time with, and that doesn't have to be time in their physical presence, that you talk to or that you listen to or that you read, it's the 5 people that you focus on the most, that's who you become. And you have to always remember that. Water seeks its own level. You know, if you want to get better at playing tennis, you don't play against somebody that's as good as you. And you certainly don't play against somebody that is not as good as you. If you want to get better, then play against somebody that's significantly better. If you want to change the quality of your life, raise your standards. And your standards will end up at the expectations of your peer group. So if your peer group's expectations of you are low, then that's where it's going to end up, because you're going to end up, water seeks that level. You're going to end up at that same level. If your peer group's expectations of you are higher than yours, your expectations, if you stick with that peer group, your expectations will raise to meet the expectations of that peer group. That's the power of coaching. That's why coaching in every way is so effective, is because those 5 people that you spend the time with is who you're going to become. So, little extra today, we will cover that a million times. Ability to manage your state and who you surround yourself with is who you become. So we talked that state is emotion. It's a feeling. It's, what is the particular value that I have? There's lots of different ways to language this idea, but basically it's what is the emotion that you're feeling at this time? What's the feeling that you're feeling at this time? That is your state. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Are you excited? And we all have these states that we're attracted to. We all have these states that we try to avoid. And we all have these states that we're really good at. We have a place that we can call home. For a lot of us, we all have a state that we really go to at times of struggle. Some people go to depressed. Some people go to excited. Some people go to overwhelmed. Some people go to happy. Some people go to stressed. And by the way, stressed, overwhelmed, that's all fear. An achiever's word for fear is stressed. If you say you're stressed all the time, that means you're an achiever and you're afraid. You just don't want to say that word because you're an achiever, so you say, I'm not afraid, I'm stressed. So we all have these areas that we go to, and then we do things in order to change our state that are not effective methods of doing that, meaning they don't serve us. When I say not an effective method, what I mean is they don't bring us closer to our goals. So if you're stressed and then you go eat a big pile of food, now all of your blood goes into your stomach and you feel more relaxed. If you're stressed and you smoke a cigarette, now cigarette is a massive upper in your body. Nicotine increases your blood pressure. It increases your heart rate. There's a reason that you gain weight when you quit smoking, and that's because your metabolism slows down. So why is it that when somebody gets stressed and they're a smoker, they smoke a cigarette? Well, because what does the cigarette force you to do? Forces you to take a big breath. That's what it forces you to do. So you could exchange smoking for breathing and get an even better result. It's Friday. There's no bars open, but back in the day when there was bars open, and they'll be open again, let's be honest, what do people do when they're stressed? They go and change their state by doing what? Drinking alcohol. Or now, in Illinois, smoking marijuana. Because that makes them feel more relaxed. It's a way to run away, right? It's a way to manage that state in a different fashion. But what's happening in those situations is you're at the effect. You're not the one that's controlling the state the way that you could be. You're letting your state control you. And if there's anything that you need to learn in state management, there's a million techniques, and I'm going to go through a ton of them. We're going to do one today. Quickly, I don't want to stay on these calls or on these things too god-awful long for you. But if there's anything you need to learn, it's that you have the ability to manage your state at any time. At any time in your life, you can decide what your response is to any given event. And I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again and again and again. We don't control events, but we control our response to those events. And that's really where the decision of your life is made, is right there. That's really where you are deciding the outcome of your life. Am I going to achieve what I want? Am I going to be happy? Am I going to end up at the end of my life with a feeling of being fulfilled, that I did what I wanted, that I lived my life the way that I wanted, or did I live at the effect and I didn't manage my state? 3 things to manage your state: physiology, which is your physical body, how you use your physical body; focus, what you're focusing on at any given time; and language, and the language that you use in order to decide something. So let's do one basic technique in order to start managing your state. When I started these videos, I told you about my morning routine. There's a whole series of things that I do in the morning. I go through my mission statement, I go through my primary question, I go through my roles and my outcomes in each of my roles, I go through goals, I go through my standards, and then I do a whole morning walking thing where I do this series of breathing and I do incantations. That's developed over time, right? I didn't start out doing all of those things. I started out doing one of those things, and then I've added and added and added. All of that stuff is designed to condition myself to be in a particular state every day. For those of you that know me and have been around me, I get asked a lot, how come you're always in a good mood? Well, that's not an accident. And that doesn't mean that I don't have problems in my life every day. It means that I've made a decision to consciously condition myself and try to be happy all the time. because when you're in a positive state, you approach a problem differently than when you're in a negative state. If you're stressed, if you're overwhelmed, you're not going to achieve the same result when you're working on something as if you're excited, as if you're enthusiastic, as if you're optimistic. You're just not. If you approach a problem with unbridled enthusiasm, your outcome in that situation is going to be significantly different than if you approach it with negativity. Now, I'm not saying to be, stupid. I mean, you certainly look at the downside of things. You certainly be cautious. I'm not saying that. You don't drive your car off the cliff thinking you can fly. I'm just saying that, the old adage of your attitude creates your altitude is 100% correct. And so when you can manage your state, then you can create different outcomes in your life. If you are full of energy and you're excited and you feel like you're in a really good place, is it likely that whatever you do that day is going to result in something better? Sure. And then that creates a different expectation. And then from that creates more energy, which creates a better outcome, which creates a different expectation. So the start of this is that you can manage your state and you can condition yourself to feel good every day. And then from that, you're going to approach things better. And just like I've done this merry-go-round example now 100 times, when you first start pushing, remember it's really, really hard. But then after a while, it's easy to keep that merry-go-round going. So let's start out with a basic way to start conditioning ourselves. And I would suggest that you do this first thing in the morning, but you can do this at any time that you want in order to start changing that focus that I was talking about. So start out by asking yourself a series of questions. And if you want, write these down. And if you want to do it later, write these down. But I would suggest morning questions. Number one, what are you grateful for in your life right now? And if your brain says nothing, because, look, some of us have been conditioned over time to look at things in a certain way, and it's going to take a while to get rid of that conditioning. I mean, you wouldn't exercise once and be done exercising for the rest of your life. I mean, it's something that you've got to do every day or almost every day in order to stay in really good health. So don't worry if these things take a little while. So number one, what are you most proud of in your life? And if you can't think of anything, then say, what could I be proud of if I really wanted to? Because everybody's got something that you're proud of. You've done something right in your life. Everybody has. So what's something that you could be proud of in your life? Then ask yourself, what about that makes me proud? And then ask, and how does that make me feel? And don't just intellectually go, well, I'm proud that I did this. What you need to do is feel the feelings. I'm proud of this. Here's why I'm proud of this. And then feel those feelings of being prideful. Sorry, it's early in the morning. Being prideful about those accomplishments or those outcomes or those whatever it is that you did. Something with your kids, something with work, something with your business, whatever it is that you did do. You lost weight, you quit smoking, whatever. Okay, what are you proud of? Next. What are you grateful for? I said grateful. What are you, after grateful, then do proud. What are you proud of in your life? Grateful first, then proud. Why does that make you proud? And how does that make you feel? Who do you love in your life and who loves you? Question number 3. And how does that make you feel? What are you grateful for? What are you proud of? Who do you love? What are you excited about in your life? And again, if your brain says nothing, then say, what could you be excited about in your life? What about that makes you excited? And how does that make you feel? And then throw in one of your goals at the end of this. Just pick one. And then say to yourself, if I achieve this goal in my timeline, how would that make me feel? And feel those feelings of how proud you would be when you accomplish this goal. So you started out with grateful, then you went to proud, then you went to who loves you, then you went to excited. Then think about one of your goals and see it as done. On this date, at this time, I'm going to have achieved this goal, and put yourself in that moment and see it as done. And feel how proud you're going to be when that goal is accomplished on that particular day. Think about what you'll look like. Think about what you get to say. Think about what you get to do. Think about how that's going to feel to have accomplished that goal at that time. And really feel those feelings. And put yourself in that moment. That took 5 minutes. Didn't even take 5 minutes. If you spent 15 minutes every morning really feeling those feelings, TV off, phone down, do that with 3 or 4 goals. Always start with gratitude. Fill yourself full of gratitude. When you're full of gratitude, you have no fear. You have no stress. Gratitude wipes that out. Gratitude, grateful, proud. Who do you love? Who loves you? What are you excited about? And then see one of your goals is done. How is that going to make you feel? Start doing that every day. Doesn't have to be in the morning. Can be at any time. It can be at multiple times. You can do it 20 times a day. There is no limit to how good you can feel if you really decide that that's what you want to do. Make it a great Friday, everybody. It's my pleasure to talk to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.